Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Weekly Collective. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's great to see all of you. You picked a great topic today. In fact, we're like on the precipice of retrograde. So the topic picked was sweeping the soul clean, clearing karma and stuck energy. So if we can get this out of the way, maybe 5 days or so before retrograde begins, we're going to be off to a good start. Otherwise, those karmic lessons come through. So you guys are right on track with where we should be looking at things this week, and it's going to encompass that as well. So anyway, good choice, folks. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and as I just stated, this is a weekly collective reading, collective meaning everybody's welcome, and unless we're looking at the elemental portion of it, all messages are relevant to all that are watching. And we have several different chapters that we look at here. We're going to do channeled messages first. Then we'll do a 7-day breakdown, which you can come back to by the end of day today. I'll have timestamps, and then the rest of this week you can kind of look at the days and make sure that everything lines up. And then, like I said, we'll do an elemental and then the special topic. So let's get started with channeled messages. Last night it was really interesting because as I was tuning into all the energy, first of all, I got a little bit of a chaotic vibe. That's the best way that I can describe it. So to me, it felt like some of you were not really sure what to focus on first. And I in my dream, it was sort of like I was having a hard time sleeping, and I felt tired in my dream, and I felt like I needed more rest. And I woke up and I was fine, but I don't know if you've ever been so tired that you're tired in your dream. That's what I was picking up on for many of you. You may be working 2 or 3 jobs, maybe you have kids, maybe you're just feeling an emotional, heavy load that you've been carrying, and it's taking its toll on your body. So you'll have to kind of figure out what the best coping mechanism is for you. I talked to everybody in the little mini read that I did on the full moon, which you should still check out. It's good for this weekend. But one of the things that I've started doing is a daily hike, or as close to a daily hike as possible, because it helps me leave all of the baggage behind and really just sort of see the world from a different perspective. It's like the 10 of Wands. So exercise, therapy, talking to other people, whatever it is for you that feels like that brings you back into your happy zone, please take some time and do that. The other thing that I was looking at here was, sorry, that's Apollo in the background. He just drank some water. I'm going to talk to this about the next sign, but it also came through for your reading here, which was, I saw kind of like this explosion, which to me would be like a tower moment. It can also be an expansion moment. So we could look at world or tower. But I think it's really important to focus on what we're doing today, which is to clean up everything so that you're not so that you're ready for the expansion that comes through, and it's not just more. Because if you think of like a messy house, for instance, if you have stuff everywhere, cobwebs and magazines and things, and then you bring something new into it, it can get lost in the shuffle, right? So this is a moment where, kind of like a librarian, we need to bring some order to things. And as we look at the cards today, we're going to look at where there may be disorder, where there may be opportunities for just growth, and I'm going to try to help you stay on top of all of it. Let me see if I can get Apollo into frame here. He's in the background. He just came in. So you can say hello to Apollo, and then we'll get started here. All right, so there's Apollo playing with his toys, which is also a great way to get the stress out, having some fun. Dogs remind us that is always something that we can do. All right, we got work to do. Like I said, the next portion for today is going to be a day-by-day breakdown, so we're going to get into the 7-day forecast. I've already selected the deck of cards that I'm going to use for this. Without any further delay, let's begin. How's everybody doing? While I'm getting this set up, let me know where you're watching from. I always like to see the different parts of the world that are tuning in, and it helps me know who's watching. I appreciate it. All right. Let's go ahead and set the intention right now to receive the highest messages possible, and we'll welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters, letting go of any preconceived ideas, just allowing what needs to come through to come through. The wheel is good. The wheel is very close to the world because it can show a change in fortune, a change in direction. We've got so many people. Canada, Bulgaria, Tallahassee, Arkansas. Thank you, everybody. I like roll call. It's fun while I'm shuffling here. France, thank you. Okay. Here we go, folks. We're going to begin with the energy of today, this Sunday. And we have the Emperor energy coming through, a strategic Emperor at that. He's holding a chess piece here. And this is a moment, because the card is reversed, to slow down from any action and really get your perspective on what it is that you want to do. And for those of you that watch my daily card pull as well, this one's a little interesting because it's connected to the whole week. But for that pulse, that moment in time that I was reading yesterday for today, I think I got the Five of Pentacles, which was to really focus on rebuilding your confidence and your sense of empowerment and worth. And that will help you connect with Emperor energy, because it's hard to believe someone who doesn't believe in themselves. And I've seen examples in everyday life, whether it's business or social or the world in general, where you can have someone who doesn't know a lot, but they project that they know a lot, and then that brings people in. Confidence is your biggest asset if you're willing and ready to kind of connect with that this week. There could be some challenges with authority, either you taking direction or advice from someone, or someone listening to you. And I think it does boil down to confidence is one end, but if you just disagree with someone, or if you're in a part of your life now where you're like, I don't want to be bossed around. This is something that can be an awakening, and you can decide strategically what to do today and what to do in the long run. Sometimes you pick and choose your battles, and I really feel like that's what this Emperor card is teaching us. Sometimes it's not worth it. You kind of like, you take one for the team, and then you think, all right, in the long run, something has to change. I mentioned I saw an oncoming tower, or I felt a sense of like chaos. The Hierophant can help with that. It's an organizational card. A lot of times we would associate this with something rigid, like church is the normal thing that you would see on this, government, school, anything that has a hierarchy to it. But there are benefits to those systems because they last. So in your own life, you're not necessarily building something that robust. It's just saying, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to focus on, what I'm going to do, and I'm going to stick to it this week. So making a schedule, making a budget, that's Hierophant energy. Of course, it's one of the most spiritual cards as well, like Hermit and Hierophant and High Priestess and Magician, all connecting to psychic abilities. So I really want you to tune in this week, particularly on Monday. Does it feel right? Does it not? Don't second guess that inclination when it comes through. I like that we have a young Hierophant on here. So we're moving away from looking at an ageist point of view. So someone that's really young can have great insights. Someone that's really old may also have very innovative insights. They don't have to be stuck. So the ability to look beyond years and just go for the best idea, particularly when it comes to advice and information, that's important too. Breaking down barriers and getting organized. That's everything. I'm sorry, I have the wrong card up. That's for Monday. So yes, for Monday. The other thing, they're both leadership cards, so there's a little bit of bleed on that. The other thing with the Hierophant is to trust in your own ability to create. You are the source. We don't see the two disciples, nor do we see the keys on this card, and that's because you have the key right here and right here, the two keys, insight and passion. So remember to connect with those, okay? So again, that was for Monday. I had the wrong marker up for a moment. Let's move on to Tuesday, and this is where you want to talk money, you want to get contracts signed. We want to avoid having to do it too close to the retrograde. So Monday's a perfect day to really, this is Tuesday. Tuesday is a great day to get into that. We already have Mercury retrograde energy entering into the house here. So on Tuesday, Wheel of Fortune coming through. If there's something that you need to talk about with respect to schedule, with respect to budget, if you need to get kind of like organized with your own budget, this is definitely the day to do so. You can make a decision now that sets you into a new trajectory, particularly if you're signing an agreement for like the next year, or at least 3/4 of a year. We have the number 10 on the Wheel of Fortune. So from this month to like almost next October, you could be in a really great energetic sprint. And that is going to help you as we go into the new year, deal with whatever challenges may come through. So it is good to think about career, personal development if you're retired or a student, personal development in general because that's what we're here on the planet to do, and definitely looking at the money, planning for the future, whether it's college, vacation, retirement, a baby. You have to have, unfortunately on this planet, we have to have money as one of our, sort of assets to survive. So plan it out, and knowledge is power when it comes to that. So again, that was Tuesday. Wednesday is where you might edit, revise, or change something. An Ace of Swords in reverse, I always like to look at as a chance to revise, to edit, to also just sort of allow yourself to be more critical. You can just say no. Justice reversed, Ace of Swords reversed, Ace of Swords reversed rather, can just simply be no or why. It can be a question. It needs to stay constructive, but it's important sometimes to push back or ask those tough questions. If you are anybody that's creative, like whether it's art, music, writing, or if you're building something, construction, this is a day to also make sure that you're paying attention to all of the fine details. Is there a crack in the foundation? Is the spelling correct in a document? Have you done everything you agreed to in a contract? Really discern and look at that bottom line and make sure that you understand it. I also love that she's tapping into her own intuition here. This is a very Aries looking card because it almost looks like a ram. But with this energy, she's just allowing it to come through. And I talk about the power of journaling as being one of the best ways to connect with source, with intuition, especially if you don't try to be perfect when you're doing it. Just get it all out on paper and it makes sense later. As someone who uses dream interpretation and mediumship, I just put things in my book and I try to pay attention. I'm like, that's what that dream was about. That's what that vision was about. That's why I saw that. And it will come into focus later. It may not immediately be into focus when you get it. So just record it, trust the process, and move forward. All right, we actually see that for many of you, if you were looking at your budget thinking, I wish I had more, or just trying to open up an opportunity, we see that that's starting to come, speaking of focus, into focus on Thursday. We have the Seven of Pentacles, but it is uprooted because this card is reversed. So some of you may be asked to do something out of your comfort zone in order to create the progress or the momentum that you seek. And this is just encouragement and validation that that's what you should be focusing on. There could also be an opportunity to relocate for whatever reason, because I'm looking at this plant upside down. So it almost feels like it's uprooted and getting transplanted. So you may have to move in order to do something. You may have to move around your schedule. You may have to do something first that you thought you were going to do later, and you feel like I'm not ready. For whatever reason, it feels like it's done enough to get things into motion. And sometimes we have to let go of perfectionist tendencies and just go for it, right? Try not to overcommit. Seven of Pentacles is right at that precipice of growth and recovery, but it's kind of like if you're eating a sandwich. If you take off too big of a bite, it's hard to chew, it's hard to swallow. So smaller bites, smaller bits. And less is more. You can always add. It's hard to subtract once you've started something, okay? If there's any existing debt that you have in your financial portfolio, this is a day also to take a look at that and say, how can I make sure that I'm not adding to the debt? And better yet, what can I do to start to chip away at that, okay? Then on Friday, it's important to be really kind to yourself, very kind to others as well. I know easier said than done. What I do like about this particular King of Cups is he has a starfish here, and starfish have the ability to repair themselves to a certain extent. So if there is something in your life and you're focusing on trying to find your power, find your strength, etc., baby steps first and foremost, and it will come in time. We also have a very Piscean vibe here because you can see the fish right around his neck right here as well. So being in touch with your emotions, leveraging them to the extent that it can make other people feel inspired or excited. Basically, your charisma is like on high, but so is your sensitivity. So balancing all of that out. There could be love coming into your life. It could be a little overwhelming, head over heels. That's how I read a reversed love card. It's almost too much, too fast, so slow it down, okay, if you did meet someone new. All right, let's take a look at next weekend. We'll start off with next Saturday. It's a revelation card. I love this particular deck because the reversal shows, as we were talking about with the Five of Pentacles in my daily read, like sometimes it's better. So this is a normal Eight of Swords. It's this feeling like, I don't know what's next. I don't know how I got here. I don't know. It can also be this feeling of being trapped when in fact, if we look at it in the upright position, it's just indecision. So there's two sides of the equation that are coming through next Saturday. You're letting go of either not being able to see or not wanting to see what's going on, and you're starting to see you're in a better position, even if it's not perfect than you might have thought initially. 8 and 9 of Swords are worse looking in the card than they actually are in life, and this card does a good job of showing that there's two sides to the coin. Try to look at the positive stuff, the stuff that you can control, and try not to give too much, I guess, it's almost like TV time, stage time to the shadow part of your energy. Shine the light. A shadow only exists in the presence of the light, and when you put a light on the shadow, it usually dissipates. But you need to find out what's causing the shadow to exist. So you have to sometimes look around. So I do feel like you're going to be able to see a path. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take a breath or two, but things are better than they seem. Remember that if something's challenging, take a deep breath, look at it from a different perspective, and try to find the silver lining. And then as we exit the week here, a week from today, next Sunday, we have 10 of Wands in reverse. And for many of you, it's just letting go. 10 of Wands is normally a card that shows a lot of burden. The person has their back kind of hunched because they're carrying all the weight. She's learned a lesson, which is power together, power in partnership, the power of two. So this ox is kind of helping her carry the load. And it's like in the best way. It feels like you're kind of able to coast a little bit going downhill, like if you've ever hiked like I do, or taken your bike and bicycled up the hill. By the time you go downhill, it's fun, right? So this is something to meditate on for the week ahead. You may be feeling like the whole week is an uphill battle, but by the time the weekend hits, you can start to coast a little bit, and it's worth the work that you put in. So that's a nice way to bookend it. Let's look at highlights and challenges for the week, and then we'll go on to the elemental forecast, okay? All right, so the highlights this week, one of the strongest cards here, just in sheer number and also in what it brings, is Tuesday, the Wheel of Fortune. I also think Monday is great. So the week is kicking off on a very strong note. The two upright cards are bringing in blessings. The biggest challenge I actually feel like might be next Saturday, feeling like there's got to be something more, or you're missing something, or you're trapped. Prison of Thought. I didn't see it in this because of I had to kind of conjure up the original illustration, but typically there's a blindfolded person, and the way that the swords are arranged, it looks like a prison. So we can think ourselves into a corner. Try not to do that. So highlights, beginning of the week, biggest challenge is right here. Let's go ahead, create some space on the table, and I'm going to take a look at the elements next. And so if you're new, the elements are just what they sound like. This is going to help us look at fire, earth, air, and water, each containing 3, so we can get a quick view of all the signs. All right. Fire, earth, okay, air gets 2. It's a good week for you, air. And really good week, actually, and water. Okay, let's talk. We got some stuff to sort out here. Starting off with fire, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Don't overthink. Don't get in your head too much. We have the Knight, or the Son of Wands, in reverse. So knights are very important when they're reversed, because they're saying this is about getting perspective. So normally you charge forward with an idea. You may be just delaying that because of overthinking. So if that's the case, trust your instinct. If, however, and don't overthink, in other words. But if, however, there's something where you're like, I really need to find out more about this, or I need to talk to this person, just pump the brakes a little bit Any Knight card, I normally see that for Knight of Swords, but any Knight card, it's true. Slow down long enough to review and look at the big picture. We have a snake on this card, which is also a symbol of change and power. You're allowed to change your mind if you need to. Sometimes when we learn new information, this is a good reason to change your mind. You originally thought this would be smart, but when you do more research, you're like, oh my gosh, I think we need to slow down because this could end up causing trouble in the long run. Absolutely, you dodged a bullet. So when new information comes in and the timeline and budget allows, change your mind. And save yourself, swerve a little bit. It's like if you see something oncoming when you're riding your bike or riding your car, you're going to course correct so that you don't have a collision. So that's fine. So if new information comes in and you need to change course, fine, slow down and do that. If you're already on the right path and you're just nervous, this is about really getting past the nerves, not overthinking, and finishing what you need to. You could also be a little bit exhausted. This looks so much like an ace that it's showing a little bit of like vitality that's depleted. So it could be that you've been sprinting so long, figuratively speaking, working really hard, doing late nights, weekends, whatever, or there's just a lot of stress at work or whatever, and you're at a point now of exhaustion. I picked up on that in the channel messages. You need to get some sleep. You're going to make mistakes if you keep charging forward. So during this week, pick a day that feels good. Definitely before Friday, because that King of Cups in reverse, that's when you get crangry and you say something, you're hungry, you're tired, you're angry, and just stuff comes out, okay? Slow down, recalibrate. But otherwise, Knight of Wands, fairly good. You'll have what it takes to deal with any challenge in front of you. Let's move on to Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, all my earth signs. We have the Ace of Pentacles. It's in reverse, but that's okay. An ace in reverse is saying, I need something, right? So if someone asks you, can you help? Say, sure, but I'm going to need this first. Or I can do this if we do this. So you're creating a little caveat, a little rider to that sort of request and saying, we have to balance it out a bit. You may also decide that you need to invest in yourself to do something, going back to school, getting some additional support in something, but you're rearranging time, energy, or resources in your favor, and it requires communication, asking. This is also showing potential. So in the rings of a tree, there are years where there's a lot of water and a lot of growth. There are other years where there's barely anything and it's a very tight ring. So by doing what we just said, you're going to hopefully allow for the growth to happen. But this is also a reminder that an ace is potential. And if we don't do anything, it just sits there and it's one of those small rings. So if there's something that is either calling your attention to it or you want to see happen in your life, you have to start putting in the work. So this is the time to put in the work. You'll get a return on it. Aces are very promising, but it requires nurturing. It requires care. And you may see that something's missing in your life and you're going to call it in, literally saying, I need this. Can I count on you? Or how can we do this? Okay? So a little bit of recalibrating with the first two elements. Let's look at air, which got two very positive cards here. So the first one was the star. And this is one of the best potential cards one could pull. If you notice on this card, we don't actually see the figure of the person. We just see the star. So it's reminding you to keep your goal in mind when you're going through things, to keep reaching for that goal, even if, or especially if, you were rejected in the past. Things are changing. Remember, the Wheel of Fortune came through this week, so things are moving in your favor. Being as authentic as possible is really important. You shouldn't have to change who you are in order for something to happen, whether it's a job or relationship or some sort of other opportunity. And appropriately enough, the star is a pentacle, basically. But we have the 10 of Pentacles, and in this deck, we have a star within a star. So the 10th star is right there. Sometimes what you're seeking is right in front of you. So many times when I show this, they're like, I counted it, there's only 9. I'm like, you didn't look close enough. Right at the center is a star within a star. So there could be something that you've been just sitting on. Maybe like we were talking about the Ace of Pentacles, it's true for you too, all my air signs. There's something that you've just been delaying. Now there's an opening. Capitalize on that opening, move forward. I will say this, if you've been struggling with money, work, or just confidence, these cards portend good things. So 10 of Pentacles and the star. New connections are opening up to you. There could be love in the cards for you because this is we would call it a soulmate traditionally, but it's someone that you've been seeking out, someone that's been seeking you out, and this is commitment, at least in the traditional illustration, and it's foundation. Anything you want to put your energy into this week will be worth it. So don't drag your feet. This is also one of the very last weeks of the year where a lot can get done. At the end of this month is American Thanksgiving. Next month is a hot mess with all the holidays. So this week is powerful for business and for just getting things into motion. Get contracts signed, get agreements together, get your own life organized, and get out, mix and mingle. Definitely with the star card. People want to see you. People want to connect with you. It's a good week, okay? And yeah, I saw the bird fly in the background too, so Spirit's saying, listen up. All right, we'll move on from Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, all my air signs, to water. Now, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. I get it, because we had the King of Cups, which represents you in reverse this week. So we have the Devil. The Devil can represent a person that has a very difficult time in sort of allowing you to be who you want to be and who you need to be. This can also be limiting thoughts or ideas, feeling for some reason that I can't do this, it won't happen, etc., etc. If there's something that you just know needs to be addressed or fixed, absolutely now is the time to do all of that. And if you see through to someone's true colors, you know, it's better now than later, and it's better now than never. So what we're seeing now is a liberating opportunity, walking away from something, dealing with a challenge or issue, and releasing any of our limiting thoughts or ideas as well. Because now retrograde is beginning, then there is also a caution to not sign a contract without understanding it, maybe delay it for a few weeks until you get into the middle of December. And I think that it's also important that, you know, much like today's reading, you don't underestimate your value or worth. That's what the Devil wants, is a lack of confidence or fear. So believe in yourself, all right? There could be a Capricorn coming into your life, but if they are coming into your life, they're getting more out of whatever this experience is than you because it is reversed. So we want to turn the tables. If I could sum it up for water this week, you're turning the tables. You're demanding an equal seat at that table when it comes to time, energy, money, respect. You're not second-guessing your intuition, your thoughts, or your value. And this is going to put you into a position of power and help you reposition yourself. And there's a great mantra in the daily reading if you want to review it, but just really feel that sense of being worthy and ready, okay? All right, we're going to get into the main topic here in just a second. I have to close my door. It opened up in the background, and then we'll go there. But I'll let you look at the cards while I'm doing that. All right. So, interesting week ahead, yeah? For the most part, pretty manageable. Would help if I put these with the right deck here. So let's see what deck is calling to me for the main topic. So again, if you just joined, welcome. Like, impeccable timing. Everything's going to be available on replay, so don't worry. We're going to look at a special topic today, sweeping the soul, clean, clearing, karma, and stuck energy. That's a lot of words. So things that are holding you back, in short. We're going to try to identify them and get them out, especially before Friday, if at all possible. All right, let me see which deck is calling to me, and then we'll begin. I think either Mystical Moments, I actually think Mystical Moments, we'll just go with that. It feels good as I was looking at it. We already have a card that's volunteering, and it's the Ten of Pentacles. Let's close our eyes one more time, and let's open up to the guides that are already present to show us what we need to let go of, what is holding us back. Let's allow this to come forth so we can have a great end to this year, not just a great week ahead. I swear I'm shuffling these, but it makes sense. If things are stuck, they're going to come probably in the reverse position. All right, that's better. how appropriate that this one came through in the catalyst position, clinging to the past. And it was swirling around, so we'll just read it as something that's ongoing. Hermes in reverse, communication, retrograde communication. Displacement, also connected with the tower energy that I was feeling. Okay, we just had a card pop out of the deck here. We'll just read it as the upright. All right, we got everything here. Let's begin. So, catalyst position first, clinging to the past. Couldn't be more appropriate for this. And it just kept kind of like turning around when I put it on the table. So what's in the past is in the past. This is the Osho Zen Tarot deck, but I kind of read it as an oracle one because they do such different interpretations. I believe the blue is for water, which would make sense. Five of Cups is like looking at past and sometimes missing the present or future. But I like what they've done here, which is it's almost like you've boxed yourself in. You've boxed in a way of thinking, right? So if you say, I can't, I won't, or it will never, ... you've cut it off before it had a chance to even enter your path. If you say, I want it, or I'm ready for it, or it will, you're starting to break through any sort of barriers and open a path to possibility. And that's really what this card is trying to convey. Look at all the stars around it too, especially for my air signs out there. Keep focusing on what's possible. Keep embracing the opportunities, right? And I'm looking at this too, and there's all these little mouths or lips that are there, and it's the words of other people that are also ricocheting in your head. And so this could be from people from the past, parents, teachers, siblings. This could be from yourself, things you said you were going to do and didn't, or things that you've said that have depleted your power. So let's just let it go, let the echo chamber go, and embrace at least the shadow of a possibility. Let's say glimmer. I don't want shadow in that word. The glimmer of a possibility that something can happen. What if? What if I can do it? And if I can do it, how can I do it? And if I see a path, why am I not doing it? So we're going to start with what if, how, and why not? And then just decide to do it, okay? Ease your way back into the path of possibilities. There's a lot to unpack there with that, but there we go. We'll intermittently look at clinging to the past. It's so interesting, the card doesn't want to stay in any position. So this is something that could be coming in and out of your life this week, and be that as it may, you're going to be prepared for it. As we look at the overarching journey here, there is a decision to be made with judgment, and you have the insight to do it. We have the Hermit here. So we'll try to keep you in that energy, and we're putting something to rest as well. First things first, though, different deck, same illustration. We have the 10 of Pentacles. So it was the 10 of Pentacles in the other deck, wasn't it? Exact same card that came through, I think, for the air signs. And I was mentioning all the rings in a tree. Very cool, very different decks, but similar. I love it when there's a synchronicity. Sometimes with 10 of Pentacles, there'll be spiders on it, or the Wheel of Fortune, because they build their webs. Sometimes we see this because it takes time. We're going to focus on time in this particular interpretation. If it took longer than you wanted for something to manifest, but the door is knocking this week, answer it. You can do it this time. It may have required a perceived failure in the past, and I'm giving the air quote because, as I said, I think this week, failure isn't really failure if you've learned from it. It was just a difficult lesson. And you will leverage that experience to, quote unquote, pass the next test that comes your way. But what we see now is, I feel like you're calling in a different group of people here. And notice how on all the 10 of Pentacles, including the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, you see an old person on the periphery. Wisdom is coming through. Sometimes wisdom requires age. So you weren't ready before, but you're ready now. Even if it could be a couple weeks, couple years, couple decades. Whatever is happening in this week, in this moment, You're ready now because of the age, the wisdom, and the setback before. Keep on keeping on here. Like I said, just like the Ace of Pentacles requires work. I can't remember if it was the Ace or the Ten. It was the Ace on that deck. Just like the Ace requires work, this is the payoff for it. So remember to keep working. You're going to get where you want to go. It's not about how fast. It's just about how successful and how complete you are in your experience. So we put unnecessary constraints on ourselves sometimes. Speaking of which, Ten of Pentacles is peers and family. So your coworkers, your friends, your classmates. I remember this from school. It's been a long time for me now, but what did you get on the test, and what's your GPA, and what are you doing next? And there's like all this comparison and competition, and it gets under your skin sometimes, and sometimes you have to push that back and remind people it's really none of their business. And if it is your family in particular that is pushing you for something, when are you going to get a job? Why don't you get a job like this? Why can't you be like your sister? When are you going to get married? When are you going to make me a grandparent? Stop. I would just it's like hold up a mirror and say, why are you so fixated on me? Are you okay? Do you need something? Just start the question line to them, and then they'll start to back down a little bit. All you need to do is feel good in your skin. If you're happy, it's none of your business what they think, and it's none of their business what you think. You focus on you, because this card at its core is success. So let's just not let the voices that were part of this card get into your headspace too much. If you try to make everyone happy, it is not going to work, folks. You are going to be miserable. You have to focus, and this is not about being selfish, it's about being self-assured and just trusting, I've got this. I can't make everybody else's life perfect. I have to do me. Because at the end of your life, that's what you're going to judge yourself on is, did I do everything I said I was going to do? This is self-judgment more than anything. All right, crossing that card is the Emperor. Hello, this card came through in the elements, and I believe it came through in the weekly it was in the weekly forecast, and it was for today. So here we go again with the Emperor. He's in the upright position here because he's crossing the card. So trust yourself and just state what it is that you want. This is what I'm doing, rather than a question. It's more powerful that way. So if there's something, like if there's an announcement or a coming out, you're saying, I need to do this, rather than saying, would it be okay if I did? Particularly if it's your own life and your own decision, just say, hey, just a heads up, I'm doing this. You're not asking for permission. And if someone starts to weigh and say, oh, no, I wasn't asking for permission, I was just giving you a heads up because I value you as a friend and I wanted you to be among the first to know, and I thought you would be happy for me. Do that, and it's going to reset things, because then it's like, no, I'm driving the ship, and I'm happy that you have some advice, but I'll ask when I'm ready. For this, I'm good. And honestly, it's refreshing sometimes to have people just have boundaries. So there you go. Have boundaries and speak in affirmative statements rather than questions. And if you're not there, don't share yet. Share it when you're sure, or when it's kind of like all configured and done. And then there's really no need to have someone, it doesn't matter what they think, because you're already doing something well and it's being well received. That can be part of the sort of joy in that, is just saying, well, interestingly enough, I'm doing just fine, but thanks. So we have two different levels of external pressure for you right now that could be keeping you stuck, because we're looking at how to unstick ourselves here. So Ten of Pentacles, typically coworkers, can be family members, usually has to do with achievement, with money, with status. You're just saying, I'm good. Then we have pressure mostly from friends, and it usually is around relationship status here. The Ten of Cups, especially, is illustrated here. And we see this little school of fish. So the interesting thing here is, the older you get, the more you start to find that, like, you can't really choose family. You do on a soul level, but on this planet, when you're born into it, it's just like, all right, I got to deal with this. But you can start to pick and choose the people that you associate with moving forward. And this is where you can start to empower yourself and get lifted up. So many of you in the States, it might be celebrating Thanksgiving. If family is gone, or you're estranged, or it's not an option, you have like a Friendsgiving, right? Which is really more in the spirit of things anyway, which is just to spend time with people that you care about. Being being alone doesn't mean being lonely. You can have a rich connection of people around you. This card is reminding you that it's the company that you keep and the way that they make you feel that's the most important. And that's a different version. That's chosen family. So we have a little bit of friction between blood relatives and chosen family in this period of time. I see a lot of love and joy in this particular card. So if you're happy, you're happy. And that's all that matters. And when it comes to pressure around getting married, having children, that doesn't fix, solve, or necessarily complete you. It's just one more facet of you. If you're ready for it, great. If you're not, great. It's just something historically that we've maybe put much more weight on than we need to. So let it just be one more thing in your life that you can deal with if and when you're ready. And again, remind people that it's none of their business. If you're happy, you're happy. That's one thing that keeps coming through here, is to get people's thoughts out of your head, create your own narrative. So we have the devil coming through. This will help those of you in the elements that were getting this card. I like the way they illustrated the devil in this particular deck because she's kind of alluring, right? So we see almost like a Black Widow kind of energy here and a toadstool. So different poisonous representations. Don't beat yourself up. There could have been someone or something in your life that grabbed you and pulled you into its web. You didn't see it necessarily coming, or by the time you did, hindsight is 50-50, but now you know. Now you know. That's a great mantra. Now I know I won't do this again. And I don't need the lesson again, universe. Thank you. You can take this and give it to someone else. I don't need it. Return to sender, please. Lesson learned. We need that rubber stamp. So that's one of your mantras is, I've learned that and I don't need to repeat that. Thank you very much. Don't limit yourself. And don't, like in speech, self-deprecation needs to be avoided in this week in particular. I talk about this a lot, but it limits you. So an example is, I'm not an expert, but this may sound outlandish, but you've already made me not believe it. You've already chipped away at the validity of it. So just say, I have some insights. I have an idea. I have a question. That's it. Don't grade yourself on it. Let others. They may love it. And better yet, like I said, when this comes through, if you're going to embellish it, or if you're going to do something, embellish it. Say, I have a really insightful question. Can we take a moment? I have something I think you're going to be interested in. Now you're selling me on it. Don't tell me where I shouldn't be listening to you. Tell me why I should. It makes you a more powerful communicator. And it makes me more engaged and more interested. This can be limitations you place on yourself. It can also be limits that others have that they're not willing or ready to let go of. That could come in the form of friends and family. And it's their loss, folks. Ultimately, you're untangling yourself or detangling yourself. I don't know. So you're getting out of the web, so to speak. And if it looks too good to be true, probably is. If you get a bad feeling in your stomach, don't do it. And this time around, ask questions and reserve your rights. So especially if you're signing a contract, better to have more of your rights where they are than to give them away for too long. This can also, thankfully, it depends what happens over the next few years here, but like historically, non-competition clauses have been kind of going away. But sometimes things like that will pop back up where people want to kind of tie you into something for too long. Make sure that you are reading the fine print and you're working with a lawyer in particular, okay? You may also need to let go of a vice. The devil can represent an addiction, a vice, or something that consistently pushes you down or holds you back. Three of Cups in reverse. What's getting you stuck? Okay. So for some of you, it is the Hermit energy. The Hermit came through in the reverse state, which is coming out of your shell. Three of Cups is an invitation, but when reversed, it's sort of like, I don't know, maybe I'll just stay home or I'll do nothing or something. And so this is saying, if you could just make an appearance, you don't have to stay the whole time. You never know who you might meet, who might run in those circles. I love that they have hula hoops there representing the different circles. And then there's some overlapping interests. It's kind of like Venn diagrams. You can meet someone that knows someone that knows someone that eventually is going to either connect you with love, opportunity, or something new, open a path. It's not the only reason to go to this, but it's also you could meet somebody, a significant person, not necessarily a significant other. We can read it as that, but a connection, love, friendship, opportunity, but only if you get out of your house and go to that event and say yes. So participate, face-to-face meetings, yes. You may be a little bit hesitant or even resigned to not go out again because this can represent a very difficult, acrimonious separation from a person that you love, a job, something, and you're like, I'm done. I don't want to do that again. Not everyone is that person. This is one of the most powerful cards in this spread and in this deck. Well, I mean, really, in any deck. The Judgment card, especially here, we don't even see the souls rising up. We just see the call. Are you answering the call? There's something this week and it could literally be a telephone call or a text, but it could be a higher calling, sort of like, I came to this planet to do this. Why am I not doing it? Why am I still with this person or in this job or in this place that I don't like? What am I going to do to align to the path? It can just be the understanding that you're now going to do it. Doesn't mean you have to do it in the next 7 days. You're just realizing it. So this is the moment of realization. As we enter into a retrograde period, you can start to set things into motion, and then in December, make it happen. So you can use the rest of this month to plan and to navigate. This week, though, you really need to make the decision, I'm ready for it. It's an acceptance card. At its core, Judgment really reminds you that you can't always control another person's decision. And we talked about that from your perspective. It's true of someone else too. And so sometimes it's just saying, I accept your choice. I may not agree with it, but it's your choice and it's your moment. And so just accepting what you can control, accepting other people's decisions and focusing on what you can control and what you can't. I'm going to find a traditional version of this card so we can look at it. The other thing that I like about it, and this is why it's one of my favorite cards, is because if you were stuck, this is the phoenix rising from the ashes. In the traditional illustration, we see souls rising up from the dead, and that means that in this moment in time, you have a chance to reimagine something. I have to use a different deck, by the way. This is frustrating. YouTube has started to censor any decks that have nudity, so I've had to retire about 8 or 10 of mine, and I'll find some new ones, but until I either decide to put tape over them or just do something else. So we're using a version of this with people that are clothed, because YouTube. All right, so we have souls rising up from the dead here, and again, answering the call. So this is your chance to basically reimagine, reinvent, and experience something this time around successfully, even if it didn't work before, or just change your path altogether. But nobody can make up your mind except for you, okay? Moving on. We have the Queen of Wands, one of the best cards here in the minor arcana, because she can make the impossible happen. I love that we have this sort of sunflower, almost like a lamp, and we have all these beautiful nocturnal animals flying around. So this is why you really want to pay attention to your dreams, daydreams and actual dreams at night, because they are rich with subconscious messages, intuitive messages. I'm back. I don't know why it quit all of a sudden, but hopefully you can see me. So thank you for your patience. So again, Queen of Wands, just in case. We had a little blip in the live stream, but I'm back. So the Queen of Wands represents the ability to make things happen. I'm just going to repeat it in case it got lost. And she is an attractor. So you want to pay attention to dreams, daydreams, and your intuitive sort of insights, because you can see it through. You can make this happen. So believe in yourself. This is also very bossy energy. So this is a moment also to really step into your power and lead the charge. Rather than letting other people decide how, when, if, etc., raise your hand and say, like I mentioned earlier, I have an idea. And yes, retrograde already. Thankfully, I was really fast with that. And basically just sort of trust in yourself. Trust in your vision, trust in your voice. And just like I did, it's so funny. Like, I felt the shadow of retrograde for the past 3 weeks. We have had one blip every single live stream. I do my best not to have any problems, but you just have to be prepared. So like me, don't let it freak you out. If there's something in this week that, you have to take a moment and then continue to shine the light here. All right. I like that she has peacock feathers on her dress. This is also about stepping into the spotlight and really just feeling the moment, embracing it. People are paying attention to you because you're ready, right? Okay, let me take a quick drink and then we're going to move on to the environment because this is a tricky card. Okay, in the environment, we have the Nine of Wands coming through. I'm sorry, this particular Nine of Wands, though, you can actually see she's a little worse for the wear. She has all of these stitches on her dress, ostensibly from this rose bush that has kind of like, got her tangled up. It's almost like some of that devil energy. So looking at it from a karmic perspective and something that could stick you a little bit, get you stuck in time rather, it is this feeling that it's been so hard to do this. Can I or should I still do it? Yes, you can, you should, you are able to do it, but you have to make that decision and you have to choose in this moment not to give up, right? And I know it's easier said than done. We can't always, it's not always that easy, and I get it. So I think in this moment here, one of the other important things for you to do is to take care of yourself. In the traditional illustration, you'll often see a person that has a bandage around their head, and it can represent headaches, mental fatigue. We talked about the limiting thoughts that can be a part of the devil card. It can also be this feeling like, I can't do this, it won't happen, etc. So really give yourself time to mentally get a break, to have some fun, to not work so hard, and then to finish what you started. Once you've gotten that break, and right above it, we have the Four of Swords. So I actually feel like it's mental fatigue because you've been on the precipice of a burnout. You've been working too many hours, too long, without enough appreciation. We need to get you connected again to rest and dreams and the ability to reinvent here a little bit, okay? Hopes, fears, and opportunities, Four of Swords. So I love that we see all the angel wings right around dream time because for me, that is one of the most powerful moments to connect to Source. It's also when I sometimes connect with people that have passed. I've had more than one experience where a loved one comes by and will brush my cheek and say hello or give me a kiss or something like that. So it's a time where we can connect to those that have passed. It's a time where our higher self comes through and shows us something that we don't want to see, but we need to see. And then also fears, desires, and the stuff that's sometimes in the energy of the shadow will come through, and we have to pay attention to that too. You can't hide from your dreams. They show you what you need to see. One of these days, I will do something special with respect to dream interpretation because I've had a chance to kind of develop it over a decade. And there are ways that you can use the dreams and monitor them and kind of like tap into your intuition. It becomes its own version of tarot, and you learn to sort of abstract things. So for now, I want you to kind of just keep your own journal and start to notice how spirit shows you things. And then, and it's going to help you be a stronger intuitive. Get some sleep, though. We can read this at face value. Get some sleep. Many of you are exhausted, or take a rest or take a break. It's so interesting because this hermit looks a lot like the tower here, but it's actually a lighthouse. So the lighthouse was upside down. The hermit is the light in the dark. Sometimes the dark depresses, literally, like emotionally, it makes us sad. Sometimes it intimidates. Sometimes it just deflates. So the choice this week is to say, no, no, no. I've got a lot to do. I'm not done yet. And I'm emboldened, not intimidated by the shadow that exists. And just shine your light. Be the lighthouse. My first 2 years, I used to say that. I believe I used to close videos with something like that. Remember to be the lighthouse. So coming back from the past here, because we're in retrograde soon, be the lighthouse. That's what each of us light workers on the planet need to do. Continue to take a chance and get out there. So she's going fishing. So don't forget, it's still worth taking a chance. So you want to come out of your shell, you want to be the light, and if something positive comes into your path, embrace it, okay? Let's expand the forecast. We'll look at these other cards as needed. So in the expanded forecast, we're going to look at the energy of health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to begin with the energy of health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. Let's take a look at that oracle card and see what it is. Ooh, what a great one to come through for health, dragon. power. We're going to go solar plexus with this. But how many times? We've gotten the Emperor a couple of times in a row, plus the Queen of Wands, and she is fire. So yes, we would want a fire-breathing energy for the energy of health. So feeling that sense of I am capable, I am powerful, I am worthy. Confidence building, solar plexus. From a exercise perspective, working on strengthening the stomach and abdominal muscles. And then from a psychological standpoint, pulling out any sort of cords. We're looking at energetic cords, but we could also think of the umbilical cord, figuratively speaking, between our parents and our familial connections that oftentimes want to anchor us. So we're strengthening the core and realizing, just like the core of the sun, that's where the power is. So really great stuff coming through. Dragons are great healing energies to connect with here. We have one that is mostly purple. Like it seems to be connecting with third eye, crown, and a little bit of the heart, because in the wings we see some blue. So energy points, mostly solar plexus, but also third eye and crown, and the heart kind of connects all of those together. All right, that was fun. This could also be for some of you just saying, I am tired. And I mentioned here in the Nine of Wands, it could be because you're burning yourself out, because it's been so hard and so long that you've been working at something. So rest, recalibration, and a decision now to finish. It's key. Bringing it back into the energy of health, standard disclaimer applies. I'm a tarot reader, a medium, and an intuitive. I'm going to look at where the energy could be affecting you. You will work with a professional as needed. Okay. Emotional stuff. It was the catalyst card, the catalytic energy. So that is best dealt with often in therapy. So if you don't have a therapist, it could be something you could look into. You can also work with just a friend and get some advice, or someone that you trust in your life, and just say, I would love your insights on X, Y, or Z. Other things, finally deciding to successfully overcome something that's been holding you back, a vice, an addiction, or a toxic environment or relationship. All of these comprise devil energy. And saying, I'm done now. And I'm reclaiming my power. Very much connected to the dragon and the solar plexus. The emperor, yes. Emperor, empress energy, I read them as even. So we're reclaiming your power. The toughest thing right now is family, peer, colleague, and societal pressures. All the people that we have in our life seem to want to really weigh into what we're doing right now. Again, it's kind of none of their business unless you're inviting that feedback in. Everything in moderation, because the devil and the Three of Cups are too close for comfort. So if there is a friend also, by the way, that, let's say you've decided to live a healthier lifestyle, maybe sobriety, maybe just the people that you were hanging with were too negative, whatever it is. But one of those people comes back into your life, and you know if you spend 5 minutes with them, it's going to trigger you. Don't answer that call, for instance. There are times where it's good to push that energy back. Avoid gossip as well. It's not going to go well. I know we're not looking at that, but that came through as we were talking about that. Focusing on meditation could be really beneficial with the headache part that is often connected to the Nine of Wands. So, and just not pushing yourself too far, particularly if you've started to exercise and you haven't for a while. You can get a pulled muscle or a sprain if you go too far with the Nine of Wands. Quality and quantity of sleep are important. Everybody needs a different amount. I can't tell you how much. But if you get the normal amount and it's not enough, there could be something else going on. And that's when you talk to your general practitioner, your psychologist, and try to zero in on what might be going on, either psychologically or in your body. I will say, all of this to the side, it does feel like you're being pushed to get out and meet new people. We talked about the chosen family, the non-blood relatives, people beyond your neighbors or your family, like meeting new connections. And it could be a really potent one, particularly for the air signs, since I got the star and that 10 of Pentacles. Okay, good stuff overall, manageable stuff. But what worked before may not work now. And if there is someone from the past that you're done with, yes, this is a time to leave the past in the past. And it can stay there now if you choose to let it stay there. We just looked at health. Let's take a look now at wealth. I'm just going to pull the card up here. This is so appropriate on the heels of a Mercury retrograde. So Hermes, also known as Mercury, came through in the reverse state. Of course, he represents communication. Of course, it's coming through reversed. So this means you need to validate everything that you heard this week. Is that correct? Did I hear this? Are we doing this? Are you still on for this time? Confirm again, and then double check to make sure that you got it right in your book. And then just have a plan B or a way that you're going to bounce back if something gets miscommunicated. Assume the best unless proven otherwise when you're talking to someone. Again, we're looking in wealth. So rather than burn a bridge, try to understand, did they do it on purpose, or was it just both of you misunderstanding that? Okay? Let's break it down, folks. We're going to look at 3 different areas in wealth. And then I'll talk a little bit more about retrograde at the end. But we're going to look at those that are in a job, those that are, and then also those who have their company. Then we'll look at job seekers and students and retirees. If you're in a traditional job, AKA you're working for someone else, here's what I see. It doesn't matter if it's part-time or full-time. Absolutely avoid gossip. There could be rumors flying. Until they're validated, don't give them too much energy, and don't repeat them. And if you're in the presence of someone speaking poorly of someone else, stomp it out or walk away. It's not worth your time and energy. It won't end well. If you have been promised something and it's not being delivered, you may have legal grounds to pursue this. Judgment and justice showing you have to decide, do I want to fight this fight? It depends what's at stake. If there's a lot of money, yes. If you value the connection more, maybe not, but whatever it is, you're probably not going to continue to connect with that person, place, or thing moving forward. So for some of you, it's like we're either going to fix this or I'm going to move on. And even if we fix it, I may not want to stay because it took so much energy to get you to do what you said you were going to do. And we've been there before, right? We're going to let go of the past. On a bright side, if you're not dealing with any of that, this is limiting thoughts, so don't limit yourself. This is a chance to connect with new people. Absolutely, now is the time to do so. We have 2 coming out of your shell cards. Your hard work is paying off, but you're exhausted, and your exhaustion may lead you to say or do something that you regret. Get some rest, take a day, take a couple days. You may think that you can't do it, but that's a limiting thought. And if you never take a break, you're never going to be able to take a break. One thing that I did this year was get out of rigid, I'm going to do this on this day, it doesn't work for me. I need to be ready to deliver messages, and that freedom makes me a better reader and a happier human. So that's something that I did. You can sometimes reconfigure what's possible. People are just used to having you do everything in a work position, so you have to have better boundaries. That's really what this is about. You're a good leader. Your hard work is paying off. I do feel like you've been overlooked for something, and now is the time to speak up and say, I'm really keen on this. I may not always say it, but I'm ready for this if you're ready. Some of you just like blending in. You can continue to do that, but the one thing that I see with blending into the background is you might be passed over or taken for granted. So I think it's important to speak up, let people see what you're bringing to the equation. It's manageable for many of you. It all hinges on what this card represents for you, if it's a promise not kept or if it's a limiting thought, because it can be both. And I'm reading for a lot of people, so I'm going to do as much as I can to kind of paint the picture. All right, looking now at those who own their own business. So you're working for yourself or you're in a small company where you're a primary owner. So small group or self-employed. Keep your promises. This is really important as we're going into the holidays. If you say something's going to ship at a certain time and it can't, that's not going to bode well. It could even open you up to legal stuff. Pad those shipping dates for sure. There may be something that isn't worth your time and energy anymore, and you're going to just need to kind of remove that from your product, services, portfolio, etc. Okay, so that's one thing. If you can't do it, don't say you can. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. If you promised it, you've got to deliver. This can also be fear, and for some of you, it's fear of being seen. And for whatever reason, it's like this isn't necessarily just your face. It could just be your name or association with what you're putting out there into the world. It's stronger if you're if you're the spokesperson too, or if you're comfortable, like I need you to believe in your product. If you don't believe in your product, why are you doing it? So it's time then to maybe sell the company if you don't feel that connection anymore. So we really need to feel that sense of, I would buy this or I would do this, therefore I'm happy to share it with you. Otherwise, nobody's going to get on board. For everybody else, it feels like for some of you, it's about the size of the company. It either needs to grow or shrink, and it's hard because you don't want to let go or you don't want to pay the extra money. But it's important to correctly project the size of the company for the coming quarter. So read that how you will. I do think you're doing a good job here. I think there's opportunities with marketing, though, that are being missed with the Hermit. And you could tap in more to people's word of mouth. Now, if there's negative stuff, own it. Go there and make it better with the customers and see if they're inclined to like change their reviews, but take constructive criticism as well as the positive criticism as well. Okay. Well, it wouldn't be positive criticism. It would be constructive and non-constructive. You're going to have to figure out how to work with that and address it is what I'm trying to say. Be clear. This is actually coming through for everyone. I'm looking at Hermes reversed, and it's like, if it's too hard to understand, simplify it. And don't use abstract stuff. It's just going to confuse people. Job seekers. Let's see what's going on. Let the past stay in the past. Don't apply to an old place that used to work. You may have a message from someone saying, please come back, we miss you. Or, oh, there's a new position that opened up here, but remember why you left. If there was something negative, it's probably still toxic. It's probably the same. You need some good evidence that it's changed. If you are presented a contract, whether it's a new or past opportunity, really drill into that contract and make sure that you understand the fine print, change anything that you don't like. Contracts are meant to be negotiated. So if there's something that doesn't gel, use your power, speak up. You've got this. There could be something wrong too, like with it, like a misspelling or a typo. Easily fixed, but better to address now than later. This is so important as you're trying to attract a new opportunity. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in what we saw in this version of Judgment, which is I can bounce back. I'm ready. It's going to be okay. It's almost like you're being your own paternal energy. Like if you go to your mom or dad and they're like, we'll figure this out. Don't worry. Say it to yourself. I'll figure this out. I can do this. I'm going to rise up from this challenge, or I'm going to rise to the occasion, right? That's really what Judgment is all about. But if you're too negative about yourself, or by the way, if you're in an interview and you came from a bad company, be very mindful of what you can and should say. I think it would be better to stick to the affirmatives. You could say, I was really drawn to your company because of growth opportunities and good morale. I feel like I accomplished what I needed to there, and that's all I really have to say about it. I needed more growth. Stay on why you're attracted to this, not like, oh my God, let me tell you. Do you have 5 minutes? Pull up a seat. And they don't need to hear the kitchen sink of all the things that were bad. They probably already know. And they're looking for your professionalism in this moment. If they keep pushing, just say, I'm not really comfortable, and I don't even know if it's ethical to talk about all of that. I'd really like to keep it focused on me and this opportunity, and I have some questions about your company. Redirect. That shows that you're the queen, you're the boss, and that's what we want, okay? I want you to look at, particularly for new opportunities, overtime and weekends, and are you getting paid for that? How much is expected? As someone who's been around the block a few times, if I'm not going back to corporate work, but if I were to go back to corporate work and they would say weekends and overtime expected, I would just say I'm good. I mean, like I'm good with occasional overtime, but I don't want to carry an extra phone and work an 80-hour work week. Life is precious, time is precious, and I have less now ahead than I had behind me, so I want to do more with it. So I want work-life balance. I want a place where I can work from home sometimes, not just in the office. And if you have a family, you have maternity and paternity leave. So look at what you're giving up, because it could exhaust you in the long run. And it might be better to pass on that. Rejection is protection. If something didn't work out, it's probably not the right mix for you. Can you find something? Yes. But it's hard to find. I'm going to validate that. The Hermit could show that this is an unannounced or unadvertised position. In which case, this is the key to success. Networking events, reaching out to friends that you know, and talking to them and just saying, hey, I'm looking for something. Do you know? There you go. Okay. Students, you're tired. And I get it. We're right on either midterms or finals. Like, I know that a combination of both in November and December. Don't overdo it. Take care of your health. There are diminishing returns as well with how much energy you can put into something. Take it in stride if you can. This can also represent something where you bit off more that you can chew, talk to your advisor about it. And remember that one misstep, one class that you need to repeat or something like that, if you overall are doing well and you're not perfect in every category, that's fine. That's why we have specialists in certain areas. Again, I will tell you, as a grown adult that worked a lot in corporate environments, multiple divisions, multiple companies, I never got asked to see the transcript, just the GPA. And they would typically just call to validate that you went to that school and you graduated with that GPA. So unless you're working for like the government or a really, really discerning place that needs to know every score, you can mess up every now and then. It's not going to ruin your life. Don't let it be bigger than it needs to be. I promise you. For me, it was college, not calculus, but like algebra. It was hard. Like, it was I don't know why. It just felt like it was a really difficult course and I had to struggle. I got a passing grade, but it wasn't the best grade and definitely dragged down my GPA. Who cares? Who cares if you got a B or a C on that? That is not what I'm doing right now. I am not a mathematician. I'm okay with not being perfect there. We all have the places where we can excel. So don't let one class destroy your confidence. Nobody was going to care in 10 years, I promise you. At least, like I said, unless you're going into the most sensitive job ever, like security or something. Most people, it's not going to matter. Even then, you can talk about how you use that to learn and grow. All right, retirees. It's time to think about what you want to do next. This is exciting, and it can also be scary because nobody's bossing you around but you. You actually could be the light, like the lighthouse. We've got that twice here. So you could write a memoir. You could do some public speaking, some mentorship. You could also just have some fun. And if you want to have some fun, first and foremost, I think for many of you, it is about meeting some new people. Every single one of the cards at the center, this is a nice segue. They're all social. 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, 3 of Cups. A lot of people, more people, and even more people here. So this is a time where you should actually get out and mix and mingle. I feel like you could make some really exciting connections. Maybe some of you maybe even finding love after losing someone or divorcing someone. This is a chance to get into the next category, which is love and relationships. All right, let's see what's coming through in the Crow deck here. Oh, displacement. You may have decided to move for your partner. You may be recently single or recently engaged. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? This is different. Different can be good, but different can be messy too, as we see all the crows kind of like cleaning up the mess here. So I think it's important to set some parameters to talk about what doesn't feel sort of like stable or safe or familiar, and try to find common grounds, common interests, just like we can see in this particular card here, right? Let's break it down. 3 categories. Those that are in a relationship, looking for love, or happily single. If you're in a relationship, I actually like what I see. All of these cards that we just talked about, this is a firm foundation. This is love. And this is having fun together. They're all reversed though. So it may have been a minute since you've really celebrated just how much you've built together. It may have been a minute since you've really had fun with one another, and maybe even started to kind of connect with some of your married friends, etc. So we have a lot of joy and celebration, and everything, if it were upright, 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, 3 of Cups, I would say it looks like you have a happy relationship for the most part. There are some challenges, so let's talk about it. Something could have come to the surface that you didn't think was going to come to the surface from your past, a mistake, maybe someone that you dated, maybe something that you did. It does feel like you're in a different trajectory now. So if someone loves you unconditionally, they love it all. It's like that Lady Gaga song. I was trying to remember, like, bad romance. But she was like, let me see all parts of you. But that one, we don't really want a bad romance. But you need to love people for who they were and who they've become. And if you can't, and if they can't love you, it's conditional, not unconditional. Come clean. That's the main thing when the devil comes through, is come clean. There could be someone trying to insert themselves between you and your partner. It doesn't have to always be an affair. Yes, it can be that. It can be someone from the past, but it can also be this guy, which could be a grandparent, a parent, or an aunt or uncle. And they're getting in your business, and they don't really need to be in your business. Or it can be a neighbor or a frenemy. Whoever it is, they need to be pushed out, and then privacy is really important. So tell people to mind their business. That's a common thread this week rather. This is interesting. Judgment can also just simply be you judging your other partner, them judging you, or making a hasty decision. See it from all points of view. Get that angel's eye perspective or bird's eye perspective, and keep an open mind. That's really what I get with this. When something comes to light, you can decide, are we in, are we out? But mostly here on the side, it looks pretty positive. A little worse for the wear. Need a little bit of time to make peace with it, but ultimately, wisdom should win out here. Okay? Take some time off, take some time together, relax, communicate. We don't have many swords here. We have 4 of swords, but I want to see a communicative sword, and I'm not seeing that, like a page or a knight or a queen or something. So open up the lines of communication. All right, moving on to those that are looking for love. You can find it. There are multiple places in which you can look. Some of you may have way too much help and interest anyway in this area, but it could be from family, could be from friends. You can go out and mix and mingle. There's a lot of opportunity. However, one of the people that you meet isn't ready to give you what you need. The devil represents someone who's either attached to someone else and not completely unentangled because of all the webs, or wants to keep it loose and easy and non-committal, because the 3 of Cups is just dating without commitment. That may not be what you're looking for. If it is, great. If it isn't, even if it is, you may get more attached to this person than you might think. You're pulling in a karmic relationship. Judgment represents someone from the past. It's interesting here because they're coming back because you had a hard time letting them go. It could be because the love was really deep in a past lifetime. If it's in this lifetime, they should stay in the past. But if it's a karmic relationship, what's coming through here is don't push it. This is a pushy card. Not necessarily as pushy as the 7 of Wands, but it's pushy. So everybody needs to kind of have their moment to shine. And if they're not ready, or if you're not ready, don't force it. We have also like a young person with an old soul. So age could be something that's surprising, like there's a gap, maybe like up to 10-year gap or something like that. So that could also be a challenge. Name of the game, especially since we're getting into retrograde, is challenges. I think you should take it slowly and really focus on your own happiness and well-being, and possibly just sort of like growing existing networks a bit. And then if something happens, give it 2 or 3 weeks before you decide what to call it. Okay. Focusing on those that are not retired, but those that are single and happy. You may also be retired, but it can be any age group for this. So if you're single and happy, good for you. Some of you are done with that chapter. You may be divorced, or you've had a lot of relationships and you're like, I am done. And I got that before. You resigned to something else. If you want to focus on something else, the happy part, growth in career and finance, extension of friends and family, or really the chosen family, good word of mouth. Like I'm seeing a lot of personal growth and career growth in this moment in time. And also just taking some time to rest. It's exhausting being in relationships sometimes. So this is just saying peace and quiet. I'm good. I'm at peace with that. That was in the past. I'm happy now. So good for you. Destiny. Let's see what's coming in. Got a beautiful card here. So we have Archangel Michael, spiritual acceleration. You're experiencing spiritual upgrades, move forward. I agree with that, particularly with the Judgment card that came through. It's just a question of if you're ready to accept the downloads. They're coming, but sometimes we question the validity or our preparation or preparedness for that download. But you are being given that in this moment in time if you're ready to move forward. Okay, we're going to do a couple things here. So karma and stuck energy. I'm going to pull 2 extra cards for this. Then I'm going to look at it, look at the whole spread and see if anything pops out. We'll meditate and then we'll look at a final question. All right, so we're going to do 2 big ideas. Actually, yeah, we're just going to call them that. First one is going to be karma, High Priestess, okay. And the second one is going to be how to get unstuck, 2 of Pentacles. All right, good cards here. So 2 big ideas coming through. First one focusing on clearing karma. So it's like the wizard behind the curtain. You have seen how things should go before, but you haven't always listened to your insight or maybe to good advice in your life. This is about finally stepping out of that fear or doubt and just saying, yeah, let's do this. And trusting your instincts. Karmically, also, there has maybe been a fear to show who you are. She's still halfway behind the curtain. So stepping into the spotlight, really embracing your power, your potential, your voice. This is what this moment's all about for you. If you can see it, you can do it. Seeing here is believing. But it's better to say believing can help you see the path. It's not evidentiary. It's not around you. It's within you. Once you see it, once you own it, once you believe it, it arrives externally. And that's the other message here karmically. And maybe some of you in the past life were, someone that could read the future and were punished for that. And you were like, I don't want to show that I can see stuff. Now is the time to really connect with your creative and insightful side. Okay. Number 2, how to get unstuck. Choices. 2 of Pentacles represents necessary choices. And you have to make a choice, one versus the other. When you make the choice, you free yourself from the devil energy of being over-encumbered, and you allow yourself to really breathe energy into that Ace of Pentacles that we saw that then can become the 10 of Pentacles, that can be the rich tree, which then kind of brings in everything that you're looking for. You're being pulled into too many directions right now, either mentally or just in everything that you're doing. Big takeaways from this spread, and then we'll go into the meditation. So you are being given a moment here to rise up, but you have to answer the call. So that's one of the most important things. It's time to step out of the shadows, deal with any challenges in your life, finish what you've started, and take a break for a moment here and really get a big bird's eye view of what's going on. Once you do that, then we have things moving faster. So I do feel like less focus on time or timelines, more focus on doing what's right. And then the end of the year is probably just going to speed by. We have a couple of extra parts here. But before I do that, if you enjoyed any part of this, a reminder, please subscribe. Leave a comment when this is on replay and let me know what you thought about it. And your participation helps this channel grow. So I just want to say thanks. You can also join me across social media. I'm on all major platforms. I'm also on Blue Sky. You can find all of the links on my main channel page and also my website. A reminder, I do not offer any private readings, so if somebody offers that, that's not me. Thanks in advance for those that give back. We'll do a shout out in just a few minutes. Okay, now let's talk. We're going to look at a meditation, then we'll do a final card. Final card is just a question that you still have that's burning in your mind, so put it to the side for a second and let's focus on this meditation. Close your eyes and look at the night sky above you. Imagine that there are stars as far as the eye can see. And within this brilliant night sky, you see one star shining brightly, brighter than all the rest. This is you, your North Star, your higher self. Feel that there is a connection from that star to your heart, to your third eye, to your solar plexus, giving you the passion, the energy, and the insight to take on whatever your dream, goal, or challenge might be in front of you. As you connect with that star, feel that you're becoming like the star card in tarot, more authentic, more resilient, more bright. And that brilliance and that energy can carry you through whatever tomorrow might bring. Turn your attention to the one last question that you have for me. Whatever that question is, send it out to that star, to the universe, breathe in, put your feet on the ground, and let's see what Spirit has to say. What a fantastic way to wrap this reading up. The world is a yes, clearly. It is a card that personifies expansion. The devil is, in many ways, the foil or antithesis of this because it wants to limit or contract. And this is the antithesis of contraction, it's expansion. So what you want to be looking at in your life in this moment are paths and opportunities and relationships that lift up, enable, and even champion that expansion. It's a time some of you may be looking at beginning a new chapter, possibly moving, possibly stepping into or out of something big. And then right after this is the Fool. It's a new journey. So we're just about at the month that I would connect with the Fool, which is January. But in order to kind of get there, you have to decide, let's do this. So Judgment and the World both came through. They are the two last cards in the major arcana. This is holding you back. Indecision or doubt. And this is all about getting unstuck today. So once you release that, things just start to expand. It was pretty powerful. At least I feel that sense of relief, and it was a heavy energy even as we were meditating. So I feel some of you needed that. All right, let's take a couple moments here just to say thanks. First of all, thank you everybody for showing up. I wouldn't be able to be here without your love and support. Looks like we have still over 1,100 people here, so thank you so much. I'm going to call out some of you that gave back and just say thank you to your participation there. And again, thanks for your patience as I figure out which decks to use. It's so crazy that I have to kind of either censor or just eliminate some decks, so I'll be doing that this week. All right. Here we go. Super stickers first. Actually, I'm going to do that because this tab is open. So anybody that gave a super sticker, this is a shout out to you for your support. I'm going to say first names and do my best to pronounce, so apologies for any mispronunciations. Sarah, Jackie, Alicia, PJ2457, Rachel, Esmeralda, Monica, and Lisa. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your support and for helping me do more videos just like this. I appreciate it. All right, let me take a moment here and give a shout out for those that gave back in the form of memberships, whether you were gifted a membership or you joined yourself. All right, so we have a decent amount today. Okay, starting here, Alicia, Geraldine, Heather, Angela, hold on, it just reset here, Danny, Erica, Karen, Beth, exactly, spelled in a different way, Elaine, Tammy, Anya, you know, that one's hard to say, Schnee, I'm just going to put it that, Schneeflock, 672, Karen, and Elisa. You guys like to make me struggle on these sometimes. Okay, let me take a look here at anybody that celebrated an anniversary or gave back in the form of a gifted membership, and we'll see what's going on here. All right, so today, I don't even think I said this one because I would have remembered. Veruca Salt, you must have done it earlier in the morning, so thank you for becoming a channel member. Michelle, thank you for 17 months of membership. Also grateful for you showing up. I appreciate it. Colette gave 5 memberships, so thank you. Let's see. We have Alicia. I think I already welcomed her as well. Jeannie, thank you for giving 5 memberships. Alicia, you gifted one as well, so thank you. And Ann Walk, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And oh my goodness, right at the end here, I hope I called out all of these, but I just noticed I Am Laura gifted 10 memberships. That's amazing. Thank you so much for your generosity. And I'll just make sure, I think I got everybody, but if I didn't say welcome to some new people, know that I see you now. There looks like there's a couple more here. So Karen, Alyssa, the Hoff, and the Autism Guru. Thank you guys so much. All right, that is everything for today. Check out the full moon video if you haven't already. We've got 4 of the December readings up. We'll have another 4 out this week, and by the end of the month, all of them will be done. So thank you for your patience as I continue to chip away at that list. Wishing you all the best. Let's see if I can pull Apollo up for the end, and then we will close. So from both Apollo and I, wishing you the very best. Some kisses from him as well. Take care, everybody. Thank you for a wonderful reading. Be kind to yourself this week. Slow down in communication. I mentioned with Mercury retrograde, you want to be mindful of signing new things, doing anything with electronics, basically travel as well. Just give yourself a little bit extra time in all of the above. All right, I'm going to put Apollo down, take him for a walk. Wishing you all a great day ahead. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.